all know someone who has dealt with brain injuries and concussions, whether they are our little brother playing Pee Wee basketball or our best friend playing football. There are 1.6 to 3.8 million sports concussions every year in the U.S. according to the Brain Injury Research Institute. So my question for you is, are concussions the biggest threat to athletes today? And my answer is absolutely yes. And my 3 reasons why are long-term brain injuries, it leads to mental health issues, and a lack of treatment is available for brain injuries. So for the first reason of long-term brain injuries, according to the article Brain Traumatic Injury and Concussions by the CDC and Prevention, it's called traumatic brain injuries may range from mild to severe, and it can cause a range of long-term or short-term effects. And it can affect thinking, sensation, language, emotion, it can cause headaches, just all different types of things. The Office of Public Affairs with Healthcare in Utah wrote an article, Concussions, How They Can Affect You Now and After. They stated that even the mildest concussion can have a huge effect on your life, and that the more concussions you get, the more likely you are to suffer long-term consequences. The CDC also wrote an article on Brainline that there is growing attention and research on chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. It is a genetic condition linked to repetitive head injuries and can only be diagnosed after death. It was first identified in the 1920s, but it just recently has been discovered in more depth. My second reason is that it leads to mental health. The American Academy of Pediatrics wrote traumatic brain injury can lead to long-term neurological and psychiatric disorders, and they wrote this on November 2nd, 2018. They also stated that traumatic brain injuries can lead to morbidity and mortality in children. The National Institute of Health discovered that 1 in 5 individuals may experience mental health symptoms for up to 6 months after a mild traumatic brain injury. Mark Fanu and Steve Fanu, they're with ESPN, and on January 9, 2013, they wrote an article. It's called Doctors and Junior Seau's Brain Had CTE. Junior Seau, he committed suicide in May of 2012. He had CTE, and because of the effects that it has on your brain, like the emotion part of it and the depression, he committed suicide. He shot himself in the heart, and they gave his body to research. So they did a test on his brain, and he tested positive for CTE. And CTE can also cause dementia, memory loss, and depression. So the third reason, the lack of treatment. According to the Mayo Clinic, there is no specific treatment for post-concussions. There's also no single test to prove that you have a concussion. So along with that, they don't have a medicine or treatment. It's pretty much just rest and heal, because the more you get concussions, the more likely you are to have long-term brain injuries. But according to the Boston University CTE Center, they wrote an article of CTE resources on Concussion Foundation, and they wrote currently CTE can only be diagnosed after death. Though brain tissue analysis, doctors with specialty in brain disease slices the brain tissue, they inject chemicals to make it like little lumps form, and then once they find those lumps, they slice them, and then they can kind of see a unique pattern that relates to CTE. There's still relatively few doctors that are able to find out if they do have it, but more people are being trained in it on how to better diagnose it. So my 3 reasons to answer the question of are concussions the biggest threat to athletes today is that, yes, it is still a threat because they cause long-term brain injuries, it leads to mental health issues, and it's a lack of treatment available for the athletes. Thank you.